Welcome back. Today we shall be discussing on braking of induction motors. So the different methods that are employed for electrical braking are as follows. The first one, as we all know, it is a regenerative braking. Then we have a very advanced method called as a plugging or reverse voltage braking. Then in the dynamic or rheostatic braking, we have four subtypes, that is AC dynamic braking, self-excited braking using capacitors, DC dynamic braking, and zero sequence braking. So broadly classifying, there are only three types, but now this type what we are seeing here, the four subtypes are actually nothing but dynamic or rheostatic braking. These are the different topologies of dynamic braking. So strictly speaking, there are three types of methods employed, and among those three types, these are the different topologies in dynamic braking. So with that point in mind, we shall proceed further and let us look at the different methods of braking one by one. So we will begin with the regenerative braking. So as the name suggests, while reducing the speed of the motor either by deceleration or by applying the load or trying to stop the motor, we have to harness its kinetic energy and deliver it back to the supply in the form of electrical energy. So basically in this mode the motor will work as generator. So we have to shift to the generating mode. Rather than braking mode, we have to shift to the generating mode, and whatever kinetic energy is available, we have to convert it back to electrical energy. It is a very tricky part in order to connect this and supply it back, because we all know that the generator should be synchronized to the grid, only then it can supply power, and we are speaking about generating a power for a very small instant of time and giving it back to the grid. So the overall the process is complicated, but with the advent of power electronics it is made possible. Okay, so the power input to the induction motor is given by this particular equation. So this is a three-phase power, VI cos phi, 3 times VI cos phi, and these are the phase values, where V is the phase voltage, IS is the stator current per phase, and phi S is the power factor angle. So this product is well known to us, and this gives us the power factor. So now if this phase angle, that is the angle between supply voltage and the stator current, if it is less than 90 degree mathematically, then we call it as a motoring operation. Okay, if it is less than 90 degree, we can call it as a motoring operation. We can verify that also, because we know that cos 90 is 0, and if cos 90 is 0, the power taken by the motor is 0. So if it is less than 90 degree, then cos value from 0 to 90 degree, the cos value will vary from 1 to 0, and the power is positive. If the power is positive, the machine is drawing power from the supply. Then we can call it as, mathematically we can call it as a motoring operation. But when the rotor speed is greater than synchronous speed, okay, so when the rotor speed is greater than the synchronous speed, that is, this phi S will be greater than 90 degree. Okay, vector diagram, with the help of the vector diagrams it is possible to understand it better. For that you will have to refer the electric motors playlist, and we have discussed about induction motors there. So here we shall be proceeding with the mathematical approach. So if the rotor speed is greater than the synchronous speed of the stator, physically it is not possible, but it can be made possible by different methods. Okay, if at all we achieve this, okay, if at all we achieve this, then this phi S will be greater than 90 degree. So any value of phi greater than 90 degree, this cos will give us a negative output. If the answer is negative here, the power value will be negative. It means that machine is giving back the power to the supply. Instead of drawing the power from the supply, the machine has entered the generating mode now. Okay, and power flow reverses. So this, in the braking concept, what we are doing is, When the motor is running at a certain speed at certain load, let us say we need to stop it, then suddenly we reduce the supply frequency. If the supply frequency is reduced, the synchronous speed will be less. Then now the rotor, because of inertia, will continue to rotate at a speed, and mathematically if we compare that, this speed, rotor speed, will be greater than the synchronous speed, and thus regenerative braking can be achieved very smoothly. Okay, so the primary factor here for a regenerative braking to be achieved, that is feeding the power back to the grid, is only when the rotor speed is greater than the synchronous speed. Okay, so this can be done by two methods, that is either by increasing the rotor speed above the synchronous speed, which cannot be done on its own. We have to use some external means, or we can reduce the synchronous speed when the rotor is rotating, and because of inertia for a small duration the rotor speed will be greater than the synchronous speed, and it is possible to go for braking action. So when this is fed from a fixed frequency, regenerative braking is possible only for the speeds greater than synchronous speed. We can consider a vehicle which is going down the hill. Okay, in that case it is freely rotating, and there is a possibility that if it is out of control, the rotor speed will be greater than the stator speed, but it is a very rare phenomenon. But with the help of a variable frequency source, it can also be obtained for the speeds below the synchronous speed. Let us say the rated speed of a synchronous motor is, or an induction motor is, 1500 rpm, and rotor is rotating at 1490 rpm. Suddenly if I half the frequency, instead of 50 Hz I give it 25 Hz, then the synchronous speed becomes 750 now, and rotor is rotating at 1490. Obviously the rotor is now above the synchronous speed, so then regenerative braking is possible. Okay, so when regenerative braking is employed for holding the motor speed against an active load, so regarding the types of load we had a discussion few weeks back. So if it is an active load, then stable operation is generally possible between synchronous speed and the speed for which braking torque is maximum. So between these two speeds, regenerative braking can be easily employed. So the main advantage is the generated power is useful, and main drawback is if we are using a constant frequency source, it cannot be employed for speed below the synchronous speed. So let us have a look at the torque speed characteristic. So usually when we are in the motoring mode, we will be in the first quadrant, and when going for the forward braking mode, we will be in the second quadrant. Okay, so if our intention is just to stop the motor, then we go for forward braking mode. But while braking, if you want to generate the power, we have to make sure that the speed is above the synchronous speed. So if the rotor speed is above the synchronous speed, then instead of the speed torque characteristic dropping here, okay, instead of speed torque characteristic dropping from this point, we observe that it can be going into the regenerative mode. That is very well possible. The next type what we are going to see is a plugging or reverse voltage braking. So this is the second type of method, and it is slightly complicated version. So phase sequence of the supply of the motor running at a speed is reversed. Okay, we have three phase supply given to a three phase winding of the stator. Okay, now suddenly when the motor is running and we have a necessity to stop it, or we need to apply the brakes in order to reduce the speed, or maybe for some other purpose, then electrically we are interchanging the connection of any two phases. Okay, if the let us say the RYB phase supply is connected to R by B windings of the motor, then the connection to Y and B windings are reversed. Okay, it has to be done with the utmost care. We cannot use mechanical switches here. We have to go for static switches, because the industrial motors are highly rated and the current value is very large. In that case, it is not possible for us to compromise on the current factor, and if we use mechanical switches, there will be a lot of sparks, which is dangerous for the industrial environment. So that is why we need to use the power electronic switches. So interchanging the connection between two phases of the stator with respect to the supply terminal. So on the supply side, we are changing the two terminals. So when the motor is running, if we do this, then the rotating magnetic field direction changes and it can act as a braking source. So this method is called as reverse voltage or plugging. So the characteristic is shown here. Let us try to understand the characteristic for the plugging or reverse voltage braking. So first quadrant, in the first quadrant we have forward motoring, and in the third quadrant we have reverse motoring. Now if we want to suddenly reverse the direction of the motor in a very short time, we cannot wait for the motor to come to the rest and then give the reverse supply. If you want to do it within the specified time for different application purposes, we will have to do it very fast. So from the forward motoring mode, we have to go to the reverse motoring mode, and directly traveling from first quadrant to third quadrant is not possible. We have to come through the second quadrant. Okay, we have to come through the second quadrant. Only then the reversal is possible. Now let us say not reversal, we just want to stop the motor. We want to travel from first quadrant to second quadrant, and this is the plugging characteristic we get. But if you want to go from first quadrant to the third quadrant, then this is the path what we have to follow. We have to slowly reduce the load torque. We have to slowly reduce the motor torque, and then keeping the speed constant, suddenly go to the braking mode where the torque is negative. The negative torque is applied to the motor in order to reverse it. Then the speed reduces. Okay, the negative torque has to be increased as the speed reduces, and once the sufficient value of the speed is reached, we will be in the reverse braking mode. So before the motor is cut off from the supply, the negative torque will be applied, and this is very much useful in a reversal drives. So now instead of going from forward motoring to reverse motoring mode, if we directly want to go to reverse braking mode, okay, that is we want to stop the motor directly, then this is the characteristic what you have to follow, and this is usually the characteristic of a slip ring induction motor where we are using a large external resistance in the rotor. So suddenly if we use a large external resistance, we know that torque value changes, the torque value increases and increases, so and so, and then if the torque value is increasing, the speed value will reduce and speed will become negative. So this method can be employed to stop the motor. So this is regarding the plugging or reverse voltage braking. Now since the motor is reversed, this is the equation of the slip what we have, and this is similar to the negative sequence slip, because now the rotating magnetic field and the direction of rotation of the rotor is opposite. So that is why the synchronous speed direction is taken as negative, and this will be the value of the slip at the instant of plugging. Okay, this will be the value of slip at the instant of plugging, and that we can verify here. So at the instant of plugging, the value of slip will be 2 minus S. So now if we see the characteristics properly, the torque is not zero here. With the instant at which we are applying the plugging, even though the speed reduces to 0, the torque is not 0. Okay, to become the torque 0, we have to reach the origin, but here at this point we observe that torque is not 0. So if the torque is not 0, then motor should be disconnected from the supply at near or 0 speed. Otherwise the motor will go to the generating mode and the kinetic energy will be converted to electrical energy given to the grid and motor will stop. So that is not our intention. Here we are speaking about changing the direction or reversing the direction. So we have to take the utmost care, that is when we want to stop the motor, then we have to disconnect it. If you want to reverse the motor, then absolutely no problem. If you want to stop the motor, then we have to take utmost care that when the speed is reaching near 0, we have to disconnect the supply. So this braking of induction motor is usually suitable for reversal drives. okay, where we need forward rotation and reverse rotation in a particular applications as per our requirement. So industrial standards, if we see, there are a lot of application which requires reversible drives, and we know that in industry 90% of the motor that are used are induction motors. So keeping those point in mind, this plugging or reverse voltage braking is widely employed. The third type of braking what we have is dynamic or rheostatic braking, and as discussed in the beginning of the slide, there are four topologies here. Okay, AC dynamic braking, and we have self-excited braking using capacitors, then we have DC dynamic braking, and we have zero sequence braking. So let us have a look at these topologies one by one. So first we'll see the AC dynamic braking. So AC dynamic braking is obtained when the motor is run on single phase. A three-phase motor running on a single phase. Okay, AC dynamic braking can be obtained. And this is possible either by opening one of the phases of the motor. Okay, either by opening one of the phases or connecting one phase to the other phase. So these are the topologies. Normal motoring operation is shown here, and if I remove the connections to the phase A, then the current will enter through phase B and flow back through phase C. This becomes a single phase. So more about the single phasing of induction motor we have seen in the previous videos. So same concept will be employed here, and we know what happens to the torque and speed when the single phasing occurs, how the stability is disturbed, that we know. So this particular topology here in the AC dynamic braking is called a two-lead connection. The other type what we have is a three-lead connection. In three-lead connection, instead of leaving one of the terminals of the supply open, that particular terminal we are disconnecting from the supply and connecting it here, such that we provide a alternate path for the current to flow. Okay, so that the windings will not get overheated. So this is called as a three-lead connection. So what happens here is, if one of the supply is removed, one of the connections of the supply is removed, as shown here, there will not be any current in the phase A. So the phase current IA will be equal to 0. And if the current is entering through phase B, then it has to exit through phase C. So IC will be equal to minus IB. Now here is the equivalent circuit shown, which is similar to the single phasing concept, and depending on this equivalent circuit, we have the positive sequence and negative sequence current equations. Now we are well versed with this positive sequence and negative sequence component, and we know how to derive these expressions. So for the available data here, these are the equations for the equivalent circuit which is shown here. So positive sequence vector current and the negative sequence vector current is shown here, and it mainly depends on current B, current in the phase B. So the positive sequence current is 90 degree phase divided by root 3 of phase B current, and phase C is negative sequence is opposite to positive sequence component. So these are the values of the currents of the positive and negative sequence. Now the voltage that is employed to the motor in this particular connection will be difference between positive sequence and negative sequence voltages, and we have to just calculate what is the positive sequence voltage, negative sequence voltage, subtract them, and we arrive at this particular equation. Because we already know what is the equation for the positive sequence current, it is possible for us to find out the voltage very easily, and this will be the terminal voltage in this particular condition. So now if we look at the speed torque curves which is shown here, the speed torque curve only because of positive sequence component is like this, which is shown by a dotted line in the first quadrant, and only because of negative sequence component is shown by a dotted line in the second quadrant. The resultant effect of these two is shown here, and it is in the forward braking mode. So if the speed has to reduce, the torque will also reduce. And when the speed comes to 0, the torque will come to 0. Okay, so when the speed is coming to 0, torque is coming to 0 here. So that is the advantage of this dynamic braking method. So if we just remove the connection of one of the phases in the loaded condition, if the load is very heavy, then slowly it will come to rest. Otherwise, it will run at a slower speed. The other type of AC dynamic braking topology what we have is a 3-lead connection. So like we have seen, the 3-lead connection is shown here. So instead of keeping one of the phase open, we are connecting it to the nearest phase available. With respect to that, we get the voltages like this. The phase A and B are short circuited. So the voltage between AB will be 0. Phase B and C will be root 3 times the line voltage. Phase C and A will be minus root 3 times the line voltage, because they will be opposite to each other. And the positive sequence line voltage is given by this particular expression. Now if we try to simplify this expression for the positive sequence line voltage by substituting the known values of VAB, VBC and VCA, we arrived at a voltage which is 90° in phase to the actual line voltage, and the negative sequence voltage will be opposite to that of the positive sequence voltage. So the per phase voltage will be the negative sequence voltage divided by root 3, or the positive sequence voltage divided by root 3. We just get the magnitude values. So these are the mathematical terms involved. The next type what we have is self-excited braking using capacitors. So here capacitors are used between each phases. As shown in the diagram here in the A, in the left side, capacitors are used between each phases. There is a capacitor connected between phase A and B, capacitor between B and C, and the capacitor between phase C and A. So these are kept permanently connected across the motor terminals, and the values of these capacitors are chosen such that when the motor is disconnected, okay, this motor will work like a self-excited generator. If the motor is disconnected from the supply, then because of the presence of this capacitor, this induction motor should work as a self-excited generator. So that is how the capacitor ratings are selected. So now this curve A, what is shown here, okay, if we are seeing this is something similar to the open circuit characteristics and short circuit characteristics of a synchronous generator, but we are obtaining that characteristic for a induction motor here because of the presence of these capacitors. When the motor is disconnected from the supply, this will work like a self-excited generator on a no load, and then slowly the capacitor discharges. Okay, so curve A, what is shown here, is a no load magnetization curve, or what we call it as a open circuit characteristic. And the line B, what is shown here, is actually the short circuit characteristics, but here it is the capacitor current. Okay, because capacitor acts like a load to the self-excited generator now, which is nothing but our induction motor running as a generator disconnected from the supply. So now the kinetic energy stored in the induction motor is converted as a electrical energy, because capacitor draws the current that is present, and the electromagnetic field or the air gap flux will convert the available mechanical energy to electrical energy. So these are the different types, and if the different value of capacitors are used, we get a different type of curve. A family of curves are shown here. So now with respect to that, when the capacitor current reduces, we observe that EMF will reduce. If the EMF reduces, speed has to drop. So from a particular value of speed, the torque is not obtained. We are in the braking mode now. Suddenly the motor is disconnected from the supply. The speed will slowly reduce and reach a value finite enough. So the capacitor current is given by this particular expression, or the value of the capacitance can be chosen. So here sometimes external resistance are connected across the stator terminal in order to get a faster braking, or in order to increase the braking torque, or in case the capacitance is not sufficient to dissipate the energy. So if we need the process to be much faster, then along with the capacitor we can use resistors in series and parallel combination. So this is about the AC dynamic braking. Oh, no, sorry, this is about the self-excited braking using capacitors. The third topology we have in dynamic braking is DC dynamic braking. So here in dynamic braking we keep one of the phase open, and the remaining two phases, instead of keeping it connected to the supply, we disconnect it from the supply and connect it to a DC source as shown in the figure. Or the another topology is we can short the remaining two wirings in the case of star connection. In the case of delta connections, these are the topologies available for a stator connection. So one of the phase is disconnected and kept open or connected to the nearest terminal, and for the remaining two terminals DC supply is connected. That is the key. So one of the phase is kept open or connected to the nearest terminal. Okay, one of the phase is kept open or connected to the nearest terminal, and the remaining two supply connections, instead of AC we are connecting it to the DC supply. So now what is this DC source? It is a calculated value. Okay, either we can get this DC supply with the help of a bridge rectifier connected to the readily available AC supply. Okay, with the readily available AC supply it is possible. Now when we give a DC source, what happens is the magnetic field is constant. Okay, magnetic field is constant. There is no rotating magnetic field. The magnetic field is stationary in this case, and if the magnetic field is stationary, then there is no rate of change of flux, and thus there will not be any interaction between the rotor current and the stator magnetic field. Thus the rotor will not follow the magnetic field now. Rotor will try to stop. That is the DC dynamic braking. So a circuit diagram is shown here, how we can employ it practically. So three-phase supply is directly connected to the induction motor with the help of this switch ABC. Now in the braking mode, this is a DP/DT switch. We suddenly reverse it. We see that two of the phases get connected to this bridge rectifier, and then using the isolation transformer we are connecting it to two phases. One of the phases kept open or shorted permanently. Then this type of connection is possible. So while applying the DC, we have to make sure that the value of the DC source is calculated very well. If a small imbalance in this calculation can lead to different hazards. So here are the speed torque characteristics of the DC dynamic braking. So during braking, the resistance and reactance values will change completely because we are using a DC source. Okay, with respect to that, this is the speed torque characteristic we get in the second quadrant. We are using braking method, so slowly the speed will come to 0. And different values of resistance, as if we use different values of DC supply, the family of curves are shown here. So as the resistance value increases, we see that the variation in the speed is faster. It will come to rest faster. The last type of braking what we have is zero sequence braking. So if all the three stator phases are connected in series and connected to a single phase AC or a DC source, step 1 is all the three phases are connected in series and connected to either to a single phase AC or to a DC source. Then such a connection is called as zero sequence connection, because currents flowing through all the stator windings are same phase and magnitude is also same, phase is also same, and that is the default definition of a zero sequence current. So the current flowing through all the three phases is the same now, magnitude as well as phase angle wise. So this is called as a zero sequence connection. And with the AC supply, resultant field is stationary. If we have a three-phase distributed winding and we give a three-phase supply, only then we get a rotating magnetic field. If we give a single phase supply, we will not get a rotating magnetic field. Magnetic field will be stationary, but it will be pulsating, because AC will have a 50 Hertz frequency. So, and it is a sinusoidal in nature. So the magnetic flux obtained will also be sinusoidal, but it will not be rotating. It will be a stationary sinusoidal magnetic field. And because of that, the rotor will slowly come to rest, because the rotor follows the magnetic field, and if the magnetic field is stationary, rotor will also try to be stationary. With the help of DC field, the field is stationary and also constant. It is not pulsating. Okay, so with the help of DC field, the magnetic field is stationary as well as constant magnitude. So here is the circuit topology of this zero sequence braking that can be employed, which is shown. So all the three phases are connected in series. The dot conventions are very, very important, because we don't want a differential flux effect here. Okay, we don't want the phenomenon of mutual inductance to interfere and cancel out the fluxes. We want them to be in series, so dot convention is to be properly followed. This can be obtained from the terminal box of the motor, and we are connecting it to a AC or DC supply. So in the motoring mode, if it is running something, suddenly we go to the braking mode and we will come to rest and we reach the zero speed. So motor will not come to rest simply, it will suddenly go to a motoring mode and come to rest in this particular application. So yeah, that's all we have got for today. Please don't forget to like, share and comment on this video. Thank you.